With the announcement of Chapter 5, everyone, I think, has been talking about it, going through each pixel of the trailer to find Sans' secret brother, or just thinking that the Floridans are cute. All the conversations have been focused on it, and I'm here to continue that cycle. Hello, my name is not Buzz, and I'm going to talk about a connection I made while watching this trailer several hundred times over. So, Chapter 5 has a bunch of plants. If you have been in theorizing scenes since Chapter 3 and 4 came out, then you probably saw this coming. We knew that it would be in Asgore's flower shop, and we knew that there would be plants. But what we didn't know was that it would be based on East Asia and cherry blossom trees. Probably because Asgore has nothing to do with that, and I honestly have no idea how this relates to Asgore at all. What interested me most was this swampy marsh area, full of plants and grasses, and what was especially interesting is this big root, beanstalk even, giant pillar of plant that the fun gang slides down on. Why is it there? Why is it so big to every other plant in the area? Most importantly, why is the area dark in the first place? Well, first off, I think this area with the root system and the swamp are both very close together. They're the only areas we see with dark lighting and only plants. The White Pen of Hope is seen in a dark zone as well, but it seems to be in a more developed area, with the building that houses it. These are presumably at the lowest portions of the Dark World, the roots. Think about how the gang is sliding down on the giant root, into what I think will be the swamp. On that giant root, there are several things we can see as the scene starts. One of them in specific catches my eye. This worm thing with an orange flower. Keep that in mind for later. But you may be asking, why does this matter? Well, that brings me to my next point. There are two songs in chapters 2 and 3 called Digital Roots and Bit Roots. Digital Roots plays in the basement of Queen's Mansion, while Bit Roots plays in the manhole dungeon of the original game in chapter 3. Both these are the deepest areas in their respective locations. Digital Roots in the depths of Queen's Mansion, and Bit Roots in the depths of the game. Also think about the meanings of roots as a word, references the roots of a plant, but also beginnings, origin. Digital Roots plays in the area where Spamton first discovered the Neo-Robot, where he found what would get him back to be a big shot. Bit Roots plays in the original game, what Tenna altered to try and keep the status quo. Both use these devices as a way to get their goals. They are the roots of their plans. But aren't I forgetting something? Oh yeah. Friend is a character that is also associated with both these songs, originally appearing in the basement while Digital Roots even plays. In Chapter 3, Friend is seen all throughout the original game, showing up as a split face in different rooms in the pyramid, even being an attack from the Chapter 3 secret boss ERAM, or the Shadow Mantle, or Nightmare, or whatever you call them, maybe even John Mantle, I don't even know. But Friend is clearly associated with these songs and areas, and also the secret bosses. ERAM has to have some connection to Friend, as they use them as an attack, and could possibly even be Friend just wearing the mantle. And Spamton is a bit more of a stretch, but think about it like this. Notice the glasses, pink and gold. Notice these cat signs in the city, and the backlights there, pink and gold. Even Noelle and Susie, pink and gold. And look at Friend, it's the same pink and gold. Spamton had to have been in the basement with Friend to find the Neo-Robot in the first place, so who's to say that they didn't meet? Or maybe Spamton was subconsciously influenced by them. Look at Chapter 5 of Lord of the Hammer, a field of pink and gold. Look at the final artwork at the end of the trailer, a pink field, a golden sky. Even look at the website for Chapter 5, invert the colors, and it's pink and gold. Everything's pointing towards Chapter 5 having heavy Friend influence, unlike any other chapter. It explains why Friend was barely in Chapter 4. They were only in one scene, in one room, hiding in the dark. But now they seem to have their toes in every single part of this chapter. And in Chapter 4, the Bibliox enemy has an act where you have to select the correct spelling of different words. Most of the words correspond with different songs from the game, such as Guardian, Atrium, Sword, Gallery. However, a few words don't have direct connections, those being Festival, Synthesis, Amphitheater, and Roots. I suspect that Chapter 5 will have a song called Roots, with no other words added on. Synthesis seems to be a reference to photosynthesis, and hopefully not chemiosynthesis, so it will probably also appear in Chapter 5. Festival obviously refers to the festival that the characters are supposed to be going to sometime in the future, possibly even Chapter 5. And for Amphitheater, I'm honestly not sure. The wiki says that this is a reference to one of Toby Fox's Yumeniki fan songs, but this song was also paired along with an earlier version of the song that plays in Man Country. So maybe this song will get used in Chapter 5's Egg Room? I am honestly not sure. Another thing of note in Chapter 4 is the Roots Prophecy panel itself. Probably the first thing you think of if you don't think of the songs. This prophecy panel depicts a lone house alongside two trees. It's found just outside the Chapter 4 Egg Room, the art therapy room, an area that Chris presumably had to go to when they were younger. The panel could be trying to depict Chris's roots, their home, the dreamer home, where the story began, where our control over the story began. But keep that pinned in your mind for later. Alright, time to talk about the elephant in the room.
That's a wonderful idea!
So, this attack in the trailer. This is just an exact copy of one of Omega Flowey's attacks. It's even the exact same sprite. And Chris is alone with Flowey, who is Azrael, or at least going to represent Azrael in Chapter 5. I think Flowey is going to be the Chapter 5 secret boss. Think about it. Roots, like that of a plant, like Flowey. We've already seen that Friend is running around all over this chapter, and we already know that they're at least involved somehow with the secret bosses. So why wouldn't Flowey fit with them? We already know about the Roots song, so what if it's Flowey's equivalent of something like Deltarune with Spamton, or the circus with Jevil? Synthesis could be their boss theme, more mellow somber song with Roots, and a more crazed one for their battle theme, Synthesis. It even happened with Gerson because of Wide's words and Hammer of Justice, so it's already a pattern. I think we've already seen them. Remember that worm thing on the leaf with an orange flower? I think that's Flowey. Flowey's Undertale design wouldn't match with the Dark Worlds. Every other character from Undertale to appear in the Dark Worlds have gotten a changed design. Even minor appearances like Undyne have had more fantastical designs to fit with the Dark Worlds. So what if the Dark World patterns this version of Flowey after their role? A worm. But why a worm? Well, to answer that, we have to talk about I've been neglecting to talk about Asgore until now because I wanted to build everything up. Basically, I'm saying that Flowey as a character will be Asgore's sort of companion in this chapter, which isn't exactly what they do in Undertale. Think about what objects Flowey will probably be patterned off of in this chapter. The only I can really think of are the flowers Asgore gave to Toriel on the day of their wedding. And look at them. Each one of them colored after the 7 human souls. Patience, integrity, perseverance, justice, and kindness. In one extra yellow flower. This yellow flower takes the place of a red flower, which would represent determination. However, Flowey was created by injecting one of the yellow flowers in the place where Azrael died with, wouldn't you know, determination. In one of Toby's Blue Sky posts, they showed early dialogue for Chapter 5. One set included some of Sham's dialogue, going as follows. Chris, I suppose I owe you an explanation about all this. No, you no doubt have realized yourself by now. The shadow crystals are far more than mere pieces of glass. In actuality, they contain a certain power. You could call this the power of will. No, perhaps will isn't right. The power they contain is... The message cuts off there. A lot of people have pointed out that this is probably in reference to determination. If Flowey is the secret boss, then they'd probably end up with a shadow crystal, or at least related to it. And since Flowey was created with determination, make a whole lot of sense if their Deltarune counterpart were to have it at least in some way. So how could these flowers make Flowey the sort of companion to Asgore? Well, these flowers are the roots of Asgore's happiest moments. They're the beginning of his marriage. That's why he holds on to them. He wants to keep the best moments of his life alive, as seen with the flowers. Think about the Roots Prophecy panel. It's a house and 2 trees, maybe the Dreamer home. The roots of the happiest years of Asgore's life. The beginning. Flowey will basically be his memories of Azrael personified. A version of him where he doesn't have to leave for college. A version who can just stay as Asgore's son forever. All inside a world where the best moments can live forever. Without Dessa's disappearance. Without the holidays going away from the Chambers. Without Asgore losing his job. And without the love of his life leaving him behind. Everyone has left him. And the only person who keeps him around is Carol. Azrael moved away to college. Toriel divorced him. And Chris doesn't even want to be around him much. He lost his job, lost his family, and his darling son. A best friend to everyone. Hey, editing note. Sorry to interrupt, but as I was going through the video, I actually came across some dialogue from Asgore to Sans, and Asgore talks about how he talks to his flowers about his problems, and even asks Sans what kind of flowers will make Toriel remember how she felt before. And with all this taken into account, Flowey will definitely try to help Asgore's issues. Alright, back to the normal video. Think about Spamton and Tenna, 2 characters who use the items that Friend has been associated with, the Neo robot in the original game, to try and bring things back to how they were in the past, to when things were better. They use these items as the roots of their scheme, and in the end, they're just a reflection of Asgore. I think Asgore will use Flowey to try and stop Chris and the others from closing the fountain, from making him realize they can't stay the same forever. That's why Flowey will be a worm, someone who worms their way in. Like in Undertale, they'll watch you. Perhaps they'll be the one telling Asgore what's been going on with the Fun Gang, the king's royal advisor. Asgore will basically be using the same character who is just a parallel image of his own son. And speaking of images, what if Friend corrupts Flowey in some way? Driven to insanity like Jevil and Spamton. Think about the message on the Chapter 5 newsletter again. Let's smile again. Let's have one more fun adventure, okay? So, what if the fun could never stop? Where they could smile forever, stuck in the same moment, exactly how it was. Because isn't that what Asgore wanted? For it all to stay the same? About the Chapter 5 prophecy panel in Chapter 4, the Flower Man, trapped in asylum. According to Merriam-Webster, asylum is a place of retreat and security. It's a shelter. That is exactly what Chapter 5 seems to be, if Asgore is going to be important in it. And think about how it says that he'll be trapped in asylum. Perhaps trapped by Flowey into a perverted version of what Asgore wanted. Escapism corrupted, like every other chapter of the game. And look at the image. It's Asgore, delicately holding a single flower. Flowey. So, that's pretty much the theory. I hope you liked it, as it's the first I've actually turned into a video, and... wait. So, what other character is strongly associated with worms? You know, the guy who places law keeping as one of their hobbies? Who always gets mentioned with their worms at every point? Rules. It's Rules' card. In Chapter 3, there's a scene of Rules watching 3 worms crawl away from him, with him desperately reaching out as he cries. Which other character has 3 specific people who they're trying to get back? Asgore. Rules is a parallel to Asgore. Think about how he keeps showing up even though no one wants him there, inserting himself into the story, trying to get on the good side of all the bosses in a chapter. With a specific liking towards Queen, Asgore keeps showing up and trying to get Toriel to like him, even though she doesn't want him there. She always just politely pushes him away, just like all the bosses do with Rules. And guess what? Toriel's Dark World outfit is a queen. Just like the one that Rules wants. And again, think about Rules' failed relationship with El Niño and La Niña. They get split up. Just like Asgore's divorce. I'm telling y'all, there's something here. Also, Rules' card gets Megalovania in Chapter 6. Alright, genuinely thank you so much if you made it this far into the video, as this is the first ever theory video that I've made and actually turned into a video, and hopefully this comes out before Chapter 5 so I can get those sweet views. But genuinely, it means a lot, and make sure to like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell for next time I go to the Single Colors Flower Shop. This has been Buzz, and have a good, never-ending night.
Here, take this lampshade, pretend to be a lamp.
Like this? Am I a lamp now?
Absolute shit.